When you create content in WebFocus Designer, you are not restricted to the fields that exist in your data source. You can create calculations from the data that exists to automate summations and other mathematical tasks related to your data fields. You can specify operators, fields, variables, and functions when creating a calculation. A calculation takes up no storage space in the data source and is created only when needed. You can create the following types of calculations. A virtual field, or define, which is evaluated as each record that meets the selection criteria is retrieved from the data source. You can create a define from the field list. A calculated value, or compute, which is performed on the aggregated values of the fields after all the data that meets the selection criteria is retrieved, sorted, and summed. Quick transforms, which apply analytical functions such as standard deviation, correlation, and moving and rolling sums and averages to measure fields in your content. Quick transform calculations are performed using the aggregated values of the fields to create post-aggregation compute fields. Quick transforms can be performed on a measure field that has been placed in a bucket. To create a basic calculation, you can use the Calculator dialog box. On the data pane, right-click a measure or dimension, for example, customer city. From the menu that displays, select Add Calculation. This creates a new calculated field with a title and field format based on the customer city field. To change the type of calculated field, select Calculate at the source to create a define field, or Calculate after aggregation to create a compute field. First, let's create a define. You can add fields, variables, functions, operators, and conditions, such as if then else, to build your calculation. This example displays the values of the customer city and state fields with a comma and space between them. You can also change the name and format of the calculation field. After clicking OK, the field is added to the data pane at the bottom of the group from which it was created. And you can select this field for use in your content. Add the define to your content. To create a compute, create a new calculation and select Calculate after aggregation. You can use functions and mathematical formulas to create new metrics and aggregated fields. In this case, we will calculate the profit margin using the standard formula. Let's change the format to a percentage before creating the new field. The compute field is automatically added to the default measure bucket. Once you have created a define or compute, you can edit it. In addition to define and compute fields, you can use quick transforms to gain quick and easy access to analytical functions, such as rolling and moving sums and averages, correlation, and clusters that you can apply to measure fields in your content. Right-click the field that you want to apply the transform to, point to Quick Transform, and select an option. You can change the aggregation type to change the information displayed in the Quick Transform, for example, from a rolling sum to a rolling average or rolling count. Selecting a field to break on allows you to define a rolling aggregate across the entire table, if no field is selected, or within any of the dimensions defined in your request. This is useful when you have multiple sort fields. You can choose whether or not to keep the original field in the bucket or replace it with the new field generated when adding a quick transform. The field is placed in the measure bucket from which it was created and displays in your content by default. To learn more, visit the WebFocus Knowledge Base, where you can search all technical topics and videos.